Hey YouTube, Siam here. So it's been a while since I've answered some questions on the videos. So I thought I'd pull up the last 4 crypto type videos and just go through the comments. But before that, just a reminder, the reason why comments are always held for review, and I never delete any comments, even if they're trolls. All I delete are the scam ones. So look, every time I come onto this, you have people pretending to be me, trying to get you to scam, and no matter how many times I report or spam abuse, whatever, they just keep coming back. YouTube, Facebook, Insta, they really don't give a shit. Yeah, so yeah, I need to flag all of, I'll get someone to flag these up in a minute, but there's no, I never delete any comments. So let's start off with this one from the 13th of October, so basically a week ago. Again, thanks for all the comments and the likes. It really does it is appreciated. So what I'll be doing is skimming through to go through the questions if there are any questions. So first question is, what's your thoughts on Solana? Again, it's another, layer 1 competitor to Ether, Ethereum, etc. It keeps freaking crashing or halting, so it's not too, it's not ideal. I think when the bull market resumes, everything, that rising tide will just lift everything up. I don't think it's the best one out there, but yeah. I think. Plunge protection team. Things didn't reverse. It was just the CPI things going up and down. Here we go. Toaster. Counter trading you as literal money making machine. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. David R. You say trading is not predicting the future, but given the irrational nature of these markets, you can't possibly have a trend line, a Kobo, double bottom, breach, or whatever signal you use that is actually reliable. It is, unfortunately, for this comment. Hence, you can't calculate the probabilities for each outcome, and so you are predicting the future out of chaos. Sure, you can manage and minimize the risk, but let's be honest, people's models are relying on the fact Bitcoin is going up eventually. What if it doesn't? At what time do you exit? Do you wait for a Kobo again? Lol. So I see what you're saying, but unfortunately, and I hate saying this, you're making this comment based on quite a gross lack of understanding of trading, and all I can recommend, seriously, this is not a plug, if you go to here, learn the basics of trading for free, and then watch these videos, it will show you all about expectancy and all that sort of stuff. We don't predict, we simply we are, yeah, as I said, we're looking at multiple different outcomes, what you would do if a certain outcome were to happen, and then you mitigate risk and make sure that your system has positive expectancy. And yes, you definitely can do that via algorithms, so charting algorithms. There have been so many times I've predicted the market, like within hours of huge events sometimes, and it's all from the charts. Yeah, so yeah, anyway, that's that video. Let's look at this one. Questions. Again, thanks for all the nice comments. Did you intentionally put... No, I don't know what's happened with this, with the ads. Sorry if you're seeing ads. I need to... Yeah, we're getting a new social media type person in the office soon to take it all away from me. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, there's no real questions, just a few comments here. So yeah, let's move on for that. Here we go. I remember you speaking about something new that you're working on related to you be making more of a public showing, such as more YouTube time. Will this also include another avenue to join Discord or Telegram or some sort? Blah 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 blah. No. So I will be doing more WAP stuff. So this is the Wealth Action Plan. Made it years before freaking Cardi B. So I'll be doing more live. Yeah, I'll be doing some live sessions, as in open streams on YouTube, etc. But this is for more wealth generation. But yeah, we're just wait. I'm currently recruiting a new videographer at the moment. So yeah, just give us a chance. Well, yeah. Okay, Jupe, how can you tell the difference between a relief rally and a proper reversal? So yeah, Taylor said generally involves a change in the fundamentals confirm the reversal is warranted. Yes, so a change in the fundamentals will help add positive buoyancy to the reversal or the start of a bull market. But the key thing between a relief rally and a proper reversal is typically that base support level. So if we open a random Bitcoin chart, one which I haven't done any doodles on, like this one, and look at Bitcoin. So I'm always a massive fan of that base resistance or base support being breached. Now in Bitcoin's case, it actually has breached it. Now it hasn't actually breached it, it's sort of like dribbled out of the bottom of it. So ideally what you need to see is a nice positive exit of that, and then you'll probably see a Kobo and then something like this. And what happens is when you see that exit, it creates a bottoming pattern in itself. And in this case, if that would have happened, you would have had a distinct neckline here, shoulder, head, shoulder, and you'd have some sort of bottoming pattern like this. So for example, one of the things I've got into recently is quant. So this is how a market fully reverses. So here we have this big old resistance level here. It falls, falls, falls. Again, we have a breach here. So this is, I didn't get in on this, and the main reason that stopped me from getting into quant on this sort of pullback here is just the fundamentals. And also at the time, I was also looking at this support level here. So I was thinking, right, if it's going to bounce off this level here, then maybe this is going to be a continuation and we could possibly get some sort of movement to the upside, which would then create a nice sort of bottoming pattern here. But it didn't. I'm glad I sat on my hands because it just breached through this. And again, this is, yeah, it is just crazy falling around this time. But look what's happened. We've created a lovely bottoming pattern and the market is now breached. So I personally believe quant is out of its bear market, but I'm hesitant in saying that because I'm also expecting crypto in general to have one more big leg down. So yeah, I'm just waiting. So in this case, going back to your question, relief rally or reversal, etc. Looking at quant right now, at the moment, I believe this is a pullback, a relief pullback. It is not going to be a reversal of this uptrend unless it positively breaches this level here and then starts making its way down here. If that happens, I'll exit my quant. But until then, I'm waiting to see if we get a bounce. And if we do start getting a positive bounce up here, I may elect to add more in around this level. So yeah, and also, but the key thing is the relief rally, which is why I posted, in fact, I don't, this thing, if we go, I put it on the Bitstamp one, I think. No, I didn't. Jesus, where did I put it? I doodle on so many different Bitcoin charts, it's silly. No, I'm going to have to find it on Twitter, stand by. That one there. I actually made a typo in this, by the way. What I was doing is I was copying and pasting the text because it was just a chore. So I wrote this one, global economy and productivity flailing, which it is now, and then I Control-V'd it and I forgot to edit this bit. But I meant to put global economy and productivity increasing during these periods. So that is a little typo on my behalf. Sorry about that. So, oh Jesus, what was I talking about? Reversal. Yeah, going back to this, I don't see a reversal coming until the Fed blinks or starts, gets out of their QT program and starts, boosting the currency supply even further. That and the spot ETF. Nothing will happen until spot ETF is allowed, because then we're going to get like 15, 20 ETFs all coming on board like that. And spot ETFs means they have to go out and freaking buy the asset, which is another reason why I think there's another leg down, because BlackRock's getting involved. If they want a spot ETF of X billions, tens of billions, they need to go out and buy, I don't know, $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. Do they want to buy $10 billion worth of Bitcoin here at 19K, or would they prefer to buy it at 12K, 13, 14K, and have best part of a 40% discount? I know what I would do if I was the head trader of BlackRock. I'd dump this shit, and they have the means to do so. So that's a good question. Thank you. Agree, can't be bull in this environment. But Siam, you still sound optimistic medium term. I am. My medium term, by the way, because I'm not a scalper or a day trader, my medium term is 3 to 24 months. That's my medium term. Long term is 24 months onwards too. So medium term is all relevant. Medium term for Warren Buffett is like 10 to 20 years. 10 to 20 years for me is long term. Everyone has different time frames, so context is very important here. More falling. Yeah. And then the last one, quantum hacking. Yeah, the other point I forgot, in hindsight, I forgot to put here, which I actually then put in the thingy, is that also the likely attackers would be nation states, as it takes a lot of resources to be able to quantum hack someone. So if a government had this capability, they would be far more strategical instead of just hacking a teeny weeny crypto market. So that's the other thing. Really, anyone's going to be doing some proper quantum hacking, it's going to be the US, Israel, or China. So yeah. Next question. What about Syncum computing? I have no idea what Syncum or Kinkum computing is. But yeah, that's about it. Again, thanks for all the comments. I haven't. I think I will answer comments based on that other video, the most recent video I've put in another time. That's a whole video in itself. I can. Yeah, it's interesting. I detest how, but I find it also interesting at the same time how people can be so divisive about certain topics. In the old days it used to be religion. Are you Protestant or Catholic? Then it, communism versus capitalism, etc. And to the point where we are now so divisive about the smallest of things. Whether you believe in COVID or you don't, you like lockdowns or you don't, crypto or not crypto, Brexit, not Brexit, Ukraine war, whose side are you on, blah blah blah, vaccines, not vaccines, and the next one, the big one, I think is going to be a generational sort of splinter, is the climate change thing. And the thing is, there are valid things on both sides of the party, but what happens with the media and those that are controlling the narrative is that they distort things. And one thing that I've learned from the trader is I'm very good. I'm shit at lots of things, but one thing I am good at is data and charts. And the thing I've learned is that you must look at a time relevant horizon on whatever data set you're looking at. So this is why I don't dick around on the 1 minute charts or 5 minute charts, because it is absolute noise. And so if you're looking at an asset, you should always be starting off on the weekly chart, really, to see what the hell's going on here. And then you look at maybe the daily chart to see, okay, a bit more of a granular situation here. And then I execute on the 4 hour chart. Okay, so that's typically what I do. I'm personally not interested in scalping. I used to do that. Now, if you're analyzing something like the Earth, what you must not do is take a little, show a chart of 1950 onwards, or 1900 onwards, or hell, even 1700 onwards. Because the Earth is billions of years old, so you need epochs of 500 million years. Whereas it's rather convenient that a lot of these charts start from, you know, the 1700s onwards. And when you look at certain things, it's yeah. So just look at the time frames. That's all I'm going to say. Also, people are so readily critical of stuff just because someone doesn't have a PhD, blah 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 blah. I don't have any qualifications whatsoever, but I've made far more money than most economists, bank analysts, basically people with, you know, qualifications. It does not mean, you know, they make money in the markets. It's pretty much the opposite. And also, because let's say I'm not a climate scientist, you know, it doesn't mean I'm an idiot and I can't work things out for myself, if that makes sense. And so when someone says something, you know, you could have the street idiot saying, gravity is real. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to take that comment, then I'm going to analyze it. But I'm not going to immediately discredit it because the village idiot said it. So sometimes there are, I mean, the world is littered with people out there who are incredibly well researched. And so you should take what they say, then look at it, look at the data yourself, if that makes sense. Like, for example, like in the archaeological world, there's a great guy called Graham Hancock. So I'm just trying for Graham Hancock. Now, if you were to YouTube him or Wikipedia him or whatever, it says here he's a British author and journalist. And so you can immediately go, oh, he's a journalist, he knows nothing about archaeology, and then just discredit everything he says. But then if you were to go to Joe Rogan, and then just, I mean, he's done loads of the, like, if you want a rabbit hole, just watch all of the Joe Rogan interviews of Graham Hancock and just listen to him talk, and the data. So just take what he says and then go and research it. It's just amazing. This is a completely different subject, obviously. This is about archaeology and whatnot. But what you'll quickly realize is that the whole world of archaeology is utter bullshit. When it comes to Egypt, that is. So there are so many like rabbit holes on Earth. It's nuts. Even with drugs. I'm going off on a rant now. So here's another thing, right? And I will talk about this because it's just a prime example of how societal conditioning, people are mentally lazy and mentally illiquid. So if they come across something which is, you know, how can I say this? Let's take drugs, right? So I've never had a cigarette in my life, I've never had weed in my life, etc. And that's because of societal conditioning and my parents, you know, drumming it in for me from a very early age that drugs are bad, blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, I spent most of my life up until the age of like 33 going, oh, drugs are bad. And then when I started getting more curious about the world, I was like, I know nothing about drugs. And so obviously when you look at any official, you know, government scientists, whatever, they'll be like, all drugs are bad, blah, blah, blah. And then I started my own research. So who am I? I'm a nobody from Norwich, just trying to understand the world with a certain mental model of stuff. And so the things that I found are factual, yet if, you know, you could easily argue, oh, you know nothing, I'm not going to listen to you. But I came across the harm addiction chart. So harm, it doesn't matter what axis really. So harm is on this chart and then addiction's over here. And I was thinking, right, from a logical point of view, when it comes to drugs, what you don't want is anything up here which is incredibly harmful and super addictive. And then you have stuff over here which is zero harm and no addiction. So I was like, okay, well, surely, in terms of drugs, anything over here is fine, anything over here is questionable, and then anything over, you know, this is the red stuff, this is the orange stuff, which, you know, you've got to be careful, and this stuff is absolutely fine. That makes sense, right? If something is not harmful and not addictive, it's like eating, I don't know, a biscuit. Hell, biscuits are addictive. And so guess what? When I found, like, heroin is up here. So it doesn't take much research to see that heroin is incredibly bad. So guess what? I don't touch heroin. I'm not going to touch heroin. Then there's a whole, cocaine is around here. I was like, okay, I'm not going to touch cocaine. People lose their noses and all that sort of stuff. But guess where tobacco and alcohol is? Obviously, this is a very bad chart. Tobacco and alcohol is like here. It's in the orange zone, but I haven't drawn this to scale. But when you look at the chart, it's here. So tobacco, there's alcohol, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got a whole scattering of other stuff over here. And then guess what? You've got weed and psilocybin down here. So magic mushrooms and weed. And when you look at the LD50, so the lethal dose rate, or 50% lethal dose rate of weed, what I found out, in order to have an overdose and die on weed, you would need 15,000 spliffs in a 10-minute period. So basically, it's impossible to die of an overdose. No one's ever died of an overdose with weed. And no one has ever died from an overdose of psilocybin, so magic mushrooms. You can't. And so I was like, well, wait a minute. Why is weed and psilocybin a Class A drug? And it's highly illegal. It's just as illegal as heroin. Whereas tobacco and alcohol is over here and does untold amounts of damage. Cigarettes actually kill you. They print it on the packaging. And then guess what? It's lobbying. If you finally understand the world of lobbying, you'll understand the world a lot better. This is why I'm so critical of freaking everything. Because the world of lobbying dictates what is legal, what is not legal, what is law and what is not law. And so really, alcohol and tobacco should be illegal. It should be a Class A drug, but it's not. And these should just be completely declassified. They should be fully legal. But these are made in nature, so cannabis and psilocybin, i.e. mushrooms, and it's hard for the pharmaceutical world to patent it and then own it, so they just make it legal. And they have their own, artificially made derivatives so they can sell. So, and this is me, I'm not a doctor, I know nothing about drugs, but what I just said, is that true or is it untrue? It is true. And then you can go down that rabbit hole, the drugs rabbit hole, or the harm rabbit hole, and go, okay, well, which drugs do the most damage? Alcohol, of all the drugs out there, they're all alcohol. A lot of them, alcohol creates the most violent events. So if you look at the police and all the things that they have to deal with, a lot of them are alcohol fueled. Alcohol fueled. Ask any copper on, the percentage of the idiots that they have to deal with, are they drunk or not? Most likely, yes. So lots of murders and crime and etc. are done under the influence of alcohol and also coke. But yeah, anyway, this started off as a crypto Q&A and now it's turned into freaking drugs. Yeah, anyway, I hope this helps. I'm still waiting for more falling. I'm still shorting shit, and I wish you the very best. Bye.